Hey guys, so I wanted to share a message with you from the heart. If you are right now concerned about the state of the world, the state of the planet, if you're concerned about World War III, nuclear holocaust, about one political party taking perhaps over the world and doing something you don't want, or another one, or you maybe think that a giant tidal wave will come and wipe out humanity through a massive end times event, a pole shift, a lot of this information is flying around out there, and I have had friends that have also carried these kinds of beliefs and narratives that have been deeply concerned. Some are even preparing for these things. I recently received a message from someone on X, like posting some article about how like the global galactic federation is looking over us and we're not going to go through these massive cataclysmic events because they're holding some energy. And I'm like, okay, I gotta say this, all right? And I don't mean this, mind you, in any like joking way. I'm speaking to you really sincerely from my heart. I used to be there. I used to be in these really polarizing, confusing states of mind, and it would really worry me. But there came this massive realization in my life that I submit to you that the only thing that's ending is your own ego and your own mind. Truly. And to let the world burn in your hands. To let it burn, let it fall apart. If you're afraid of nuclear holocaust, put your hand on your heart, breathe into your heart, and just say it's okay for a nuclear holocaust to kill me and my family, in my body. If you're afraid of whatever, nanobots infiltrating everybody and 5G destroying the planet, just be like, it's okay for 5G to destroy the planet in my body. It's okay for that to happen. If you're terrified of, you name it, okay, just name your conspiracy flavor of the week, okay, just, it's okay for that thing to happen. I'm not saying these things are not true. I'm not saying some of these concerns aren't valid. But in order for you to be free and actually elevate your consciousness in this incarnation, you have got to go beyond the fear of death. All right. Somebody wrote to me recently, like, oh, isn't there truth? Are we gonna be okay, like, through this thing? I just wanted to like say, no, you might die. It's okay. Like, can that just be okay? Holy shit, we are so fucking terrified of death. We're so terrified of no self. And a funny thing happens when you start being okay with it. First of all, that little exercise I just shared with you, that might change your life. You might have to pause this and take a breath. You might have diarrhea because your whole body is hanging on to so much. Go and do it. Let that shit go. Start getting acquainted with death in your body, with disintegration, with oblivion. That fear of no self is the fire underneath the ass of humanity. And it's what makes us so easily manipulable. Like, oh, death, oh my God, you might die. Well, here, take this, take these shots, or do this, or you're gonna be like, what if you could just breathe? It's okay. So the magic phrase is, it's okay for the world to end. And then you'll notice that you're still here. The sky is still blue. I'm still breathing. And you realize there's two worlds. There's that world that is here no matter what happens. There's something here that is undying, immortally peaceful. And there's this other world that's inside of you. And that other world is your ideas of right and wrong and the world and what it is and what it means, how it should be, and how they should, and all that is actually collapsing. That's what's ending. Because when you say it's okay for the world to end, it's just your idea. And all of a sudden there's this great let go. And then there's peace. And that peace has a very different movement, has very different ideas about what you need to do or not do. It has a very different inspiration that will come through you through that. But that will be a tangent. My point is, you are not your body. You are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not even your feelings. You are something else beyond all that. And this, whatever is happening collectively right now for of us, is staring up in us an immense opportunity to remember that, to connect to that. We have no choice. You have to let the world burn in your hands. If you're hanging on to it, let it burn, let it fall apart. Trust me, a new, better one will just appear. And funny enough, like, the external always reflects the internal. So if we are collectively terrified of death and hanging on to the very last bits of this world, which, by the way, kind of sucks, it's not that cool than what we've created collectively. And if that's falling apart, good, like good. Breath in, let it fall apart. It's still here. I'm still here. Well, what can I do with this moment now? There's peace. There's freedom. I don't have to go save anybody. I don't have to wake up anybody. I can just be here. And the external starts to mirror that. It starts to mirror that. So if there was actually a way for you to save the world, or to prevent World War III, or whatever, this is it. Is to let the world die inside of your hands, inside of your own heart, inside of your own mind, to come to peace, and let the frequency that you then reside in be the frequency that changes the world. That is how we actually shift a global cataclysm. Because if the cataclysm can happen inside of you first, then it doesn't have to happen on the outside. And if it does, so be it. There's a lot of people running around on this world, have never actually fully met themselves. They speak about awakening and enlightenment and higher frequencies and ascension and the fourth dimension and I'm an enlightened being. But as soon as it comes to this topic of really meeting your death, it's like, well, no, the aliens will save us. No, you might die, and it's okay. You've done it before. You're not your mind, you're not your body. And if there's a part of you that is terrified of the end, then there's a part of you that doesn't actually fully know that. There's a part of you that's not free yet. And it's time to come and wrap your loving hands around it with the power of your heart, with the infinite compassion of your being, and just be like, it's okay. It's okay. This reminds me, once I was actually in an airplane at 18,000 feet, and we started nosediving, and the masks fell down, and there was like a burning smell, and I was in a Spanish plane. There was no courtesy translation. It was just like, tripulación descenso emergencia, emergency landing, like, emergency descent. And my wife at the time turned to me and said, oh my God, what's happening? Are we gonna be okay? And I remember I turned to her, and I had just finished watching on YouTube this show called Air Crash Investigations. I was addicted to it for months because I loved this whole thing where they were investigating air crashes, and this topic of just, I don't know, fascinated me. It's probably how I brought it into my field. And I looked at her and I quickly did the math in my head. I was like, oh my God, we're in a hydraulic failure in an airplane. And I looked at her because I knew we're probably going to die. It's 80% chance we're going to die. And I said to her, I think we're going to die. And immediately her composure changed from like, everything's going to be okay, right? To just tears flowing down her face, and mine too in that moment. And, our life just flashing before our eyes. And the last thing I thought it was my daughter, and just the gratitude for this life. It was a hydraulic failure. There was a backup pump. We made it to a different airport. So I'm just here to look at you right now and tell you, yeah, you might die. We might die. This might be it. Great. I love you. Thanks for watching.